Premier Planet, it's your favorite MC, JB, Justin Barlow, here with you inside the Premier Studio in Woodstock, Illinois, where we just wrapped up our 95th studio taping. Thank you so much to everyone who came out to join us here this evening. If you weren't with us here, here's the action that you missed tonight. 0-1, before the show began, he practically demanded an opponent, and who steps up to face him? Iniestra. Now Iniestra, later on in the evening, he would have a match with Matt Vine for the #1 contendership, but I guess he saw this as a little bit of a warm-up match, and Iniestra, coast to coast, 0-1 did everything he could to keep Iniestra down, but he wasn't able to keep Iniestra from flying. Iniestra pulls off a beautiful dive off the top rope, puts 0-1 away for the 1-2-3, and earns himself a moral victory before stepping in the ring with Matt Vine. Following that, it came down to career versus career. Irish Andy Anderson and the Science Marcus Smith. These two have been just feuding left and right, back and forth for months. They've gone through almost every kind of match you can imagine. They've been through a lumberjack match. They've been through a no disqualification match. They finally decided that there was only one way to settle this feud once and for all, and both stepped into the ring tonight, putting their careers here in PPW on the line. Now this match, with everything riding on it, with the stakes, this one was intense, it was insane, it was heart-stopping. The adjectives just go on and on and on for how to describe this one. Now these two, if you remember, have not only been bitter rivals, they've also been tag team partners too. And in the ongoing PPW World Tag Team Championship Tournament, they have been undefeated, but they decided to bury all that for the sake of burying this rivalry. So these two know each other like the back of their hands. And so each one tried their best to pull out new tactics, new deals, but it seemed like they just knew each other so well. Each one had the other scouted. The action went back and forth until Andy Anderson, to the almost shock of everyone in attendance, especially Marcus, he pulls out a new strategy, gets Marcus on the mat in a cross arm breaker. He's tugging on Marcus's shoulder. Marcus has nowhere to go. They're dead center in the middle of the ring with no ropes to bring him salvation. Marcus had to make a choice. He had to decide whether to give up his career in PPW or risk permanently damaging that arm and never wrestling anywhere again. Marcus chose the former, decided to tap out to Andy Anderson, and here tonight, Marcus Smith, the Science, his career, rest in peace. Following that, we saw the #1 contenders match, Matt Vine and Iniestra. These guys have gone back and forth over several weeks, never really having resolved who has the right to be called #1 contender and get that title shot against the champ. Tonight they stepped in with a 30-minute time limit, and they couldn't meet it. These guys went a full half hour until the time limit expired. Both of them, the bell rings, they're in the corners, just, what the hell just happened? Randy Ritchie, Premier CEO, comes down to ringside and says, you know what? Hell of a match, guys, and it was. If you were here, you know it was a hell of a match. Next week, Randy announced these two are going to go at it again for that #1 contendership. This time, time limits null and void. We are going to have a winner here next week. It's Matt Vine and Iniestra one more time for the #1 contendership. Following that, we had 0-2, this one from Okinawa. Remember, 0-1's from Japan, 0-2's from Okinawa, facing off against La Magia Mascara, who had been on an extended absence here at PPW. These guys, this was an exciting one. You had two smaller, more agile guys in the ring, back and forth. This one was fast-paced, and incredibly, 0-2 is able to roll La Magia Mascara up for the 1-2-3. 0-2 earns his first victory here in PPW after being haunted by a losing streak for months and months, the better part of a year, I think. Big night for 0-1 as he earns his first win here tonight in PPW, but La Magia Mascara, gracious in defeat, applauds his opponent, applauds the Premier Planet, goes to the back, head held high for a job well done. Now after that came our main event. Now this one got a little confusing. If you remember, it was supposed to be Chase Gosling taking on the champ Scott Colton in one-on-one action. Well, Gosling's music is playing, and there's no Gosling. We all know he likes to take a little bit of extra time getting out to the ring. He likes to leave his opponent sweating a little bit. But tonight, nothing, until Premier CEO Randy Ritchie re-emerged and announced that he had been receiving text messages all day from Chase saying, oh, I'll be there at this time, I'll be there at this time, and then finally, 15 minutes before match time, Chase says, to hell with it, it's all part of the plan, whatever that means. Colton's left without an opponent. He's visibly disappointed because Colton's a competitor. He wants to compete. He wants to compete for these fans here, and he wants to compete to get better and finally reach that pinnacle and get to WWE someday. So Colton starts making his way to the ropes, looking like he's going to exit the ring, and then that's when we hear it. The music that we haven't heard in a long time here in PPW. Who emerges with that music playing? Ronnie Metro, who has been touting a return here at PPW for several weeks now. He shows up in full ring gear, of course, feather boas and earrings and lipstick and all, and he gets in the ring looking to take Chase's spot in the title match here tonight. But Premier CEO Randy Ritchie, he says, now wait a minute. If you want to face Colton, here's two terms. Number one, you can't just walk in here, demand a title match, and receive one just because the other guy didn't show up. So if Colton agrees to it, condition one, the match is going to be non-title, condition two. Ronnie, he wasn't crazy about it. He came in with the idea that he was going to snake right in and take that title from Colton. But Colton accepted the match, and then Ronnie also accepted, despite the fact he wasn't going to have a chance at that title. Ronnie felt he had something to prove here tonight. And this was an incredible match. I mean, it was amazing. Ronnie Metro showing not even an ounce of ring rust, even after being on the shelf for months with an injured shoulder. Colton not willing to give an inch either. These guys back and forth. I mean, the term seesaw battle is used so many times in this industry. This was a living definition. I think the momentum, it was a solid 50-50 all the way. You never knew who was going to get the next pinning opportunity, the next submission hold, who was going to take to the air with a drop kick. You didn't know. Finally, Scott Colton is able to get Ronnie over in a sunset flip. It looks like he's going to get the pin, but as the ref's hand was about this close to the mat for the 3 count, Ronnie reverses it, and they're close enough to the ropes where Ronnie, the whole Premier Planet saw it, but unfortunately the referee didn't. Ronnie grabs that second rope for added leverage. He gets the 1, 2, 3 on the champ Scott Colton here tonight. But as Ronnie is celebrating in the ring, thinking that he just earned himself a bona fide title match, Randy Ritchie says, now wait a minute. Like I said, you can't just walk back in here and get a title match like that. You've got to earn your way back up. So he rained on Ronnie's parade by announcing that next week Ronnie Metro would have to go back to the bottom and start working his way back up. And next week it's going to be Ronnie Metro and Irish Andy Anderson coming off of a huge moral win tonight, finally retiring the Science Marcus Smith and getting him out of his hair for good here at PPW. Don't forget, each and every Saturday night, folks, we are right here, 1230 Davis Road in Woodstock, Illinois. Next week, join us for our 96th taping. Again, you're going to see Ronnie Metro taking on Irish Andy Anderson as Ronnie tries to start climbing that ladder back up to the top here in PPW. Matt Vine and Iniestra, #1 contendership, no time limits. And next week, Randy Ritchie promises that if he has to get a cattle prod and go to Chase's house, he will do it in order to get Chase Gosling here. He promises that Chase Gosling will be here and he will face Scott Colton for the PPW World Heavyweight Championship. Thank you again, Premier Planet, for your constant support. Don't forget, we're 5 weeks away from our 100th studio taping. It's going to be a huge night. You're going to want to join us for that one. There were times we never thought we'd make it this far, and we did because of your support, and we want you here to celebrate that night with us. So again, that's Saturday night, July the 16th. Mark your calendars, and in the meantime, don't forget to join us each and every Saturday night. Again, that address is 1230 Davis Road in Woodstock. Again, I'm Justin Barlow. It's been my honor being your Master of Ceremonies this evening. We will see you out here at PPW.